Hi, I'm Steve Wilson, and I want to talk about our latest project, Flowers 1, 2, 3. Now, this is a three-dimensional technique. So we create these three-dimensional flowers, and those flowers can then be used on essentially anything. Everything from a pin to a quilt to a 3D object. Now, we've done, again, 3D embroidery for probably over 10 years, but we never quite put it into a system. And that's what our 1, 2, 3 system is all about, is I can learn a technique and then adapt it, all these different ways. So here's how Flowers 1, 2, 3 works. The first part of this collection is 50 different flowers. Each flower's got 3 different kinds of petals. So we have a large petal, we have a medium petal, and we have a small petal. Now, each one of these petals stack onto each other to form a larger flower. You could stitch them in, any kind of fabric. This one is, really more cottons. This one's more linens, and you wind up making beautiful flowers like these. So here's an example of one done in linen. Here's one done in organza. And again, you see these 3 different layers. You could mix all the different styles together. So essentially those 50 flowers can make over 1,500 different flowers. You don't have to use all 3 layers. You can use 2, or you could use 1 to make a unique flower. So that's amazing in itself, how this is done. Here's another example. This one's using all gold fabric. The second part of the collection is all different freestanding leaves and lace designs. So obviously these flowers are the larger ones. We have freestanding lace flowers that are smaller, and even really small lace flowers. So these can again then be stitched together, pinned together to create a 3-dimensional object. So let's take a look at how the flowers are actually created. So how do you create the flowers? Well, every flower, as I said before, is unique. So you choose your petals. Again, they could be from the same design or different designs mixed together. For this example, we're going to use a small, medium, and large. And then you choose the center. So every flower obviously has to have a center. There's 6 different centers to choose from. Could be stitched, could be applique. So what we do is we wind up making all the petals first. So they're just stitched on water-soluble stabilizer. We stitch these petals, we rinse them, we set them aside, and then you'll see in the center of each one is a little circle. What we're gonna do is we cut that circle out. Now that circle is your placement stitch to align everything together. So I'll show you what I mean. So once they're all set aside, here's all of our petals. We have a big pile of them. We simply open up the center by itself on our stabilizer, and we stitch the first step. So you see right here, the first step of the flower center is just a circle. We would then take our first piece we want laid down, we take the circle, we line it up with that circle, and then we stitch the next step that you see here, which is tacking down that first circle. The alignment doesn't have to be perfect, they're flowers, so they're really organic in nature. Once that's tacked down, we take our second petal, lay it on top of the first one, stitch the next step that tacks that one down. Pretty simple. We do the same thing for the third one, as you see here, and then we take our applique fabric for the final piece, lay it on top there, tack it in place, and trim it, and then we wind up with a 3D flower, 3 petals, center done, and removing it from the hoop is really easy. You just take it off. We're done. We have a 3D flower. So you can make thousands of these to cover up a whole wedding table if you want, or you can create one of these to use as a pin or a decorative object. Now the next part of this video is showing you the amazing things you can do with all of these 3D flowers. So let's start with our easiest project and work our way up to some more exciting objects. So here's the first one. This is just a woman's shirt, and we attached the design to it. So since everything works off that flower center, you hoop the shirt and you add the petals just like you would, but instead of stabilizer, we're putting it right on a shirt. Pretty cool. It's there, it launders, no problem. You can use any kind of fabric. So that's the first project. Now let's see what else we could do with some simple individual flowers. And this one is tote bag. Now this is a finished tote, purchased at a store, added to one you already have. They're removable, and we did this by adding pins to the back. So you simply add a regular pin like you would on a brooch, and we attached multiple flowers. So easy, you want to use them on something else, You unpin them, and you put them on something else. No big deal. Now let's get a little more exciting. This is when we got crafty at Anita Goodesign during this collection. This one is a wreath. Now what's really unique about this is that we used not only embroidery, but other crafting tools and ideas. These are little wood pieces that we cut out of a branch we found behind our office. The wreath form is just bought at a craft store. It's just one of those styrofoam forms. And then we wrap the form in essentially burlap. And then we added these flowers all around it, stitched in organza, linen, as well as pine cones and things like that. Now, if you notice up close, you'll see all the different sizes. You see these little lace flowers mixed in, big flowers, small flowers. It's a really unique project. Was it that hard to do? Not really, because the flowers are all done individually and then attached to this wreath later using either glue, if you want a permanent solution, or you could just pin them down since the base is styrofoam. We recommend using pins. That way next year you want to do something different, you have all the flowers, you just create a new project around it. This one is one of my favorites. This one is, again, a simple styrofoam cone that you purchased at a craft store. And then we added all of these flowers done in just different cotton fabrics and lace. And you see them all mixed in, starting with little lace ones at the top, getting bigger towards the base. What I love about this project is that these flowers were all white, and that we then took the cone that was white and essentially dip dyed it in indigo dye, and then just slowly pulled it out. And as the longer we left it in, obviously you see the dye gets darker. Was this hard to do? Absolutely not. You just need about a garbage can full of dye, and you might think that sounds like a lot, but it's mostly water. The indigo dye is about $20 for a package, and we probably used about 1/10 of that package to do this. So $2 worth of dye, and you can pretty much dye everything in your house blue. But I think the end result is amazing. The flowers were just simply pinned on there. I mean, that's how cool this is. You just pin them in place. You want to use these then on something else, you can. You have a great arrangement, then you can take these flowers, make a wreath, make another project easily without restitching everything. And here is my favorite project. This was really the first one we designed because it's the most elaborate. And this is a topiary. So again, all these supplies are bought at a craft store. Flower pot, fake grass. This is just a wooden dowel and a styrofoam ball. Now, obviously, you're gonna have a hard time finding everything gold. And we did as well, so we just spray painted everything, including the flowers. And you're probably saying, wow, that's like taboo. You can't paint embroidery. Well, metallic thread, metallic fabric are very expensive. White fabric or old fabric you have in the box and random thread colors isn't. So we essentially bought gold spray paint at Lowe's, and we laid all the flowers down and sprayed them gold, one at a time. And you notice we have blue leaves, gold flowers. We painted the pot gold, we added some ribbon, and this has dozens of flowers and leaves in all different sizes stitched, including the small lace ones. So these small lace flowers, I'm gonna pick this apart here, I'll probably get in trouble later, is you see this one right here, again, stitched in white, we painted it gold. We also did other versions of this, a bridal version with all white flowers and pink, you'll see that in the book, as well as probably 10 other projects using these designs. But what's as simple as one simple 3D flower or one little lace flower like you see here can easily turn into a magnificent centerpiece for a baby shower, bridal shower, or in your home. And the possibilities of this collection are endless, as you can see by the samples we showed. I love this collection because there's nothing here that takes a long time to embroider. There's not like a giant quilt that's going to be 3 million stitches. It's all just individual flowers that you could then collect and create these large projects with. So we hope you enjoy Flowers 1, 2, 3 and look for the next 1, 2, 3 project from Anita Goodesign.